Today, we're going to dive into the life and legacy of Mary Jackson, one of NASA's most pioneering figures. Her story is a fascinating mix of resilience, brilliance, and a steadfast commitment to breaking barriers. To start, let's talk about Mary's beginnings. What can you tell us about her early life and education?
Mary Jackson was born in Hampton, Virginia in 1921. She graduated from high school with top honors and later earned bachelor's degrees in mathematics and physical science from Hampton University in 1942. It's noteworthy that from an early age, she was laying the groundwork for what would be an extraordinary scientific career, even though the odds were stacked against her. Being a Black woman in that era, opportunities for her in fields like engineering and math were scarce.
What's amazing is how she not only navigated those societal barriers, but ended up at NASA, which wasn't exactly known for its diversity back then. How did her career there begin?
She first joined NACA, the precursor to NASA, as a research mathematician in 1951. This was in the West Area Computing Section, a segregated unit where many talented African-American women worked under the supervision of Dorothy Vaughan. She started out as what they called a computer, performing complex mathematical calculations. NASA underwent structural and cultural changes over time, but during that period, these women were already quietly pushing the boundaries.
And then she made that leap to become NASA's first Black female engineer. That must have been quite a journey. How did that happen?
Absolutely. It wasn't an easy path. In 1953, Mary began working with an engineer named Kazimierz Czarnecki in NASA's supersonic pressure tunnel. He encouraged her to take graduate-level courses in mathematics and physics so she could move from being a mathematician to an aerospace engineer. The catch? The courses were held at an all-white high school, so she had to petition the city of Hampton to attend. Imagine the determination that took. Once she completed the courses, she earned the promotion in 1958, becoming NASA's first Black female engineer.
It's almost poetic, breaking down barriers while literally studying airflow and wind forces. What kind of work did she focus on as an engineer?
Her primary focus was on analyzing data from wind tunnel experiments and actual aircraft flight tests to improve the performance of air and spacecraft. She was a part of multiple NASA divisions, including the Compressibility Research Division and the Subsonic Transonic Aerodynamics Division. Her work often involved complex studies on thrust, drag, and boundary layer transitions, topics that are highly technical but incredibly crucial to aerospace advancements.
What stands out to me is that she could have just focused on her engineering work alone, but instead she chose to pivot into advocacy. Why did she make that switch later in her career?
By 1979, Mary had reached the height of her engineering career, but realized that the advancement ladder was limited. Rather than staying in a role where she couldn't make a broader impact, she accepted a demotion to become an administrator in NASA's Equal Opportunity programs. She led initiatives like the Federal Women's Program and the Affirmative Action Program, helping women and minorities gain opportunities in NASA's science, engineering, and math roles.
That's such a powerful move, stepping down professionally to ensure others could rise. Do we know the kind of changes she pushed for in that role?
She not only advocated for better hiring practices, but she also actively mentored those around her, offering guidance on how they could further their studies and qualify for promotions. She essentially became a force for systemic change at NASA, making sure that the next generation wouldn't face the same barriers she had to overcome.
Her influence apparently extended beyond NASA. I read that she was very active in her local community as well. What kind of impact did she have there?
Oh, absolutely. Mary was heavily involved in youth education, particularly through her work as a Girl Scout leader for over 30 years. She even helped children in her community design a miniature wind tunnel, offering them a hands-on introduction to engineering. It's a testament to how deeply she cared about nurturing the next generation of scientists and critical thinkers.
And then, years later, her story gets this extraordinary acknowledgement through the book and film, Hidden Figures. How did her portrayal in the media reshape the narrative around her and others like her?
The book and film really brought to light the contributions of Mary, along with Katherine Johnson and Dorothy Vaughan, during the space race, a part of history that had long been overlooked. Suddenly, these hidden figures were recognized as pivotal to NASA's success. It was especially poignant to see how their stories inspired young girls and marginalized communities to see themselves in STEM fields.
And it seems her legacy continues to grow. NASA's headquarters in D.C. was renamed after her, right?
Yes, in 2021, NASA renamed its headquarters the Mary W. Jackson NASA headquarters. It's such a fitting tribute to her life's work, breaking barriers and redefining what's possible, not just for one person, but for an entire generation.
It's so inspiring. Let's wrap up by reflecting on what lessons her life offers us today. How do you think her journey resonates in our current push for diversity and inclusion, especially in fields like science and engineering?
Her life is a blueprint for perseverance and for leveraging personal triumphs to create systemic change. Mary Jackson didn't just break glass ceilings, she held the door open for others to step through after her. Her story is a reminder that progress doesn't happen in isolation. It's the result of collective effort, courage, and the willingness to challenge norms. That's a lesson that feels timeless.
Beautifully said. Her story challenges all of us to think about the impact we want to leave behind. Thanks for helping us unpack this incredible legacy. Until next time, let's keep pushing boundaries, just like Mary Jackson did.